We're talking with Scott Williamson, music director of the Virginia Chorale. Scott's about halfway through his first season with the chorale, and Scott, it's been a real great season musically, and I'm sure you have discovered that the chorale is indeed, as you knew, one of the great choral groups in the area.
Indeed. I'm as excited as when I arrived, and this next program that we're doing, as I've been saying to the singers, every piece on the program is my favorite song.
And in some cases, they are literally songs.
That's right.
But you also have excerpts of choral pieces, opera excerpts. It's a real eclectic mix.
It is. Indeed, the first half of the program I've rather corningly titled Missa Eclectica et Romantica. There's a wonderful mass for a cappella chorus by Josef Rheinberger, the Romantic composer mostly known for his organ works, who loved music of the Renaissance and early Baroque, and so he, inspired by the Venetian Baroque, which was the inspiration for our first program, I thought, we've got to do some Rheinberger on this romantic program. So we're opening the first half with the Kyrie and closing it with his Sanctus from this double chorus mass in E-flat. Very beautiful, wonderful harmonies. And in between, we're doing some motets. One of the great Bruckner motets, Os Justi, a motet by the romantic British composer Charles Villiers Stanford, Beati Quorum Via. And then we're also doing, one of my personal loves, excerpts from operas. And rather than doing an extended Gloria and Credo in a mass, I thought, what better Credo than some of these great opera choruses of Verdi? So we're going to do the chorus of Scottish refugees from Macbeth, which both in the play and as far as the story goes, as the plot goes in the opera, could be a throwaway moment. Verdi seizes on it and writes some of his greatest choral music. I mean, you hear his indebtedness to the Renaissance Italian polyphony, to Palestrina, composers like that in this chorus of Scottish refugees. And then we're also going to do his most famous opera chorus, Va Pensiero, from Nabucco, which became immediately a rallying cry for Italian independence in the early 19th century. And in the middle of that, we're going to lift the cantata from Act 2 of Tosca out of context and do it a cappella.
Wonderful.
Which is how Puccini conceived it as this a cappella choral cantata with soprano obbligato. And it's wonderful music. I mean, I first sang it myself before I came to interview for the position. Actually, I was doing a concert version of Tosca with the New York Philharmonic and the New York Choral Artists, and so, there are 50 pro singers getting together to sing this music, and we all realized, wow, this is a really great chorus.
It's a good example, and there are also examples in Puccini of the Italian opera composers getting close to church music.
That's right.
The line blurs.
And that's how
many cases.
They all, both Verdi and Puccini both, began their careers studying and playing in the churches. And even though both of them had a pretty strong anti-clerical streak, they nevertheless continued that indebtedness to the tradition. And Puccini was frustrated with his critics who thought that he kept writing the same sugary music over and over again, who wanted him to be the next Verdi but thought he fell short because his heart was on his sleeve and he kept repeating himself. So I think this cantata in Tosca is Puccini thumbing his nose at his critics because it has great counterpoint and harmony. It's sophisticated and beautiful. So
we're talking about a romantic celebration, 2 concerts coming up with the Virginia Chorale, February 21st at First Lutheran Church in Norfolk, the 22nd at Williamsburg Presbyterian Church in Williamsburg. Some romantic music that you may not be familiar with, whereas in the second half you may have heard some music of Johannes Brahms for chorus.
Yeah, and I'm so excited about this second half. We're doing some familiar pieces, some of the gypsy songs that will be instantly recognizable, and they're perennial favorites because of how infectious the Hungarian gypsy music was that inspired so much of Brahms' great music. But we're also going to do this choral tone poem, Nenia, the Song of Lament, which is one of a handful of extended single-movement choral works that Brahms wrote after he wrote the German Requiem. And you hear the influence of that work in this piece. It's hardly ever done because it's a 15-minute work for chorus, and it's a large orchestra, so it doesn't pair too easily on orchestral programs. So unfortunately, it's neglected. We're very fortunate to have Chuck Woodward playing for us, and I wanted to take full advantage of Chuck's skills. I refer to him as the Wizard of the Keys in
Exactly.
one of my notes. And
Exactly.
so Chuck is going to play this orchestral reduction, which is actually Brahms' piano reduction of the score.
Right.
So we're going to hear what Brahms heard as he composed it, actually.
That piece is such a lush, rich, autumnal Brahmsian sound.
It is.
Yeah.
It is so, and it's so full of musical references to the beautiful images of the poem by Schiller, who everyone has heard of, even if you don't recognize the name, because everyone knows the Ode to Joy of Beethoven, and that was Schiller's most famous poem. And this lament references the German Romantics' interest and resuscitation, if you will, of Greek mythology. So there are all these references to Greek characters, heroes who have been killed, and their mothers and spouses who weep for them. And Brahms captures that in the music so beautifully, so poignantly.